Good morning and welcome to the second day of the Global Landscapes Forum. I'm Natasha Elkington and today I'm with Tim Christophersen, who is the chair of the Global Partnership and Forests and Landscapes Restoration, on Forests and Landscapes Restoration. Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Lovely. So would you please tell us a bit more about this report that's come out?
So this report, which is available for download on the Global Landscapes Forum website, was launched yesterday by 29 international organizations that form this Global Partnership on Forest and Landscape Restoration. And what we do in this report is we analyze what experience have we learned over the past 15 years on forest and landscape restoration in over 50 countries, and how can we now massively scale this up to reach 350 million hectares by 2030. 350 million hectares, just to give you an idea, is roughly the size of the Indian subcontinent. Wow. So those are areas spread all around the world in degraded lands that we think we can restore successfully by that time. And that would have massive benefits for the climate, for food security, for water security, for energy security, for jobs, for biodiversity. And all it takes is a little bit of investment and political will.
Mm-hmm. So it seems from this conference that we have the political will, and how do we get the investment to make all this happen for 2030?
We are working with a number of different potential investors, private sector investors, but we also need public financing to push restoration over that tipping point, as you will, that we've also seen with renewable energies in the past, where now it becomes self-evident that new investments into energy are renewable. The same in future we want to see with new investments into land use. They have to be for sustainable agriculture, for reforestation, for more trees on farms, for forest and landscape restoration. We need, if I said a little bit of money, that's maybe an underestimate. We estimate that it takes upwards of about $40 billion per year to reach the 2030 target. Mm-hmm. But again, in the larger scale of things, in a $75 trillion world economy, that is not a very big price tag.
No.
And we estimate in this report that the benefits from ecosystem services that we could generate are around $9 trillion between now and 2030. So that is a sizable return on investment. Most of that in the form of public goods, clean air, clean water, but some of it also in the form of monetarized income that can flow to the rural farmers and the stakeholders.
Okay. So do you have any ideas how you're going to try and pull some of this investment in to support the initiative?
We're testing various approaches. We have, for example, a collaboration with two large European banks, Rabobank and BNP Paribas, who each have made available upwards of $1 billion to start this kinds of investments. And we're now actively looking for projects, bankable projects, so that have a sound return on investments for forest and landscape restoration, where we can invest. Right now, the bottleneck is not so much on the finance, but on creating bankable projects that have good social and environmental returns as well as an economic return. Mm-hmm. Those projects we need more of, and then we can channel the finance.
Okay. And so are there any success stories in this report that you'd like to share, like any interesting findings that the rest of the world could learn from and maybe try and implicate or replicate in different countries?
We have hundreds of success stories from around the world. For this report, we've selected 5, mm-hmm. and there's a few more on our website of the Global Partnership. One in Africa here is from Burkina Faso, where there's a local association that helps farmers to temporarily fence off some areas, provides them with seed materials, and the yields they get from those restored lands are 2 to 3 times higher than what they got before. Okay. So there's a massive livelihood impact. There's a massive impact on village life because there's more cash also flowing into the village economy. We also have one case study from Brazil where the city of Sao Paulo was running out of drinking water, so mm-hmm. they launched a massive program to restore all the watersheds around Sao Paulo and broaden the buffer zone around every river so that more water could be collected after rainfalls. and they pay the farmers for this ecosystem service, which is obviously very important. I mean, water is the one essential thing that we all need together with food and air. So everybody understands that concept. If you run out of water, you have to restore the landscapes where it comes from.
Right, exactly. Okay, so in terms of like the Global Landscapes Forum, how does this play into trying to reach these targets or make this happen?
When we spoke about political will in the beginning, I'm not quite sure where you're there fully yet. And the Global Landscapes Forum is the platform that can help us push this, because we have thousands of viewers online. These kinds of interviews reach many people, and they need to then also speak with their politicians and push them to do these things. We need more political will. It is growing, and I believe that with latest extreme weather events, many people now realize that climate change is real, it's happening, and we have to urgently do something to stop it. That political will needs to still be nurtured. We need to turn forest landscape restoration into a global movement towards 2030.
Right.
And for that, I also hope that member states in the United Nations General Assembly will adopt this idea of a UN decade for ecosystem restoration, which would run from 2021 to 2030. This has been proposed by El Salvador and the group of Central American countries, and they are now trying to get more countries on board. And again, anybody who's watching this, if you speak with your politicians, ask them to support it. That's all it takes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you. And
Thank you for
wish
having
you a
me.
nice rest of the forum.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Natasha.
very much, Tim. Thank you.